This is the Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, on Alternative Talk, AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Welcome back to the Money Hour with your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, right here at 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, December 26th show. I am dedicated to you, my listeners, providing you with the tools needed to make informed decisions on matters that affect your money. If you're hearing my show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast to talk with the guests I have in studio or anything you'd like to share with me. You can call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. And in studio right now, I'm going to have a conversation with Tyler Freed with Windermere Real Estate. It is the end of one year and beginning the new year. So talking about real estate and what's happening and what's coming up is really what the first two guests are. Tyler, thank you so much for coming back in studio again. It's been a little while since I've sat across from you.
Yeah, it's good to see you again, Tina. Thanks for having me in.
You're welcome. And to all my listeners, a little background about Tyler. Tyler, again, is with Windermere Real Estate. He's a second-generation realtor that has been selling homes for the last 11 years. He specializes in working with sellers and buyers relocating around the Puget Sound area. Tyler's family means everything to him. He has a beautiful wife that he met in college, who now joined him in his real estate career. That's so exciting, Tyler. Soon to follow, maybe his very young. And how old is Carter?
He's going to be 3 March 30th.
Okay, so he's got a while before he'll join the family in real estate.
He's been going on some house tours already.
Yeah, that's awesome. Tyler, he's been on HGTV as featured Seattle real estate broker, hosted his own real estate talk show, which he invited and had me in studio as well, and has been featured on Zillow's 50 Agents, 50 States blog in 2014. In the past 5 years, Tyler has helped more than 200 buyers and sellers with their real estate needs in Seattle, Tacoma, and the Bellevue market. So if you're looking for an agent that will go the extra mile and one that is professionally dedicated to ensure every client is treated like a friend, then you will definitely want to reach out and give Tyler a call. You can reach him on the Money Hour site, or you can go to his site directly. And also, what he asks from his clients is just to give him 1% of your confidence and let him earn the rest. So please take time to read Tyler's past customer reviews. I mean, that's a big thing right now, Tyler, in reviews, and you've got some amazing ones out there. So I encourage all of you, my listeners, if you're thinking about real estate, to definitely read up on Tyler. So Tyler, let's get right into it, and let's start with what's happening in today's real estate market, kind of an extension conversation what we had from Matthew. And what did you see happen in the real estate market for this year, 2015? What did you see happen?
Well, we'll kind of touch on some stuff that Matthew talked about and take a little more of a local approach.
Okay.
I mean, the biggest thing is just how tight and little the decrease in inventory is. Kind of in the greater Seattle area, it's dropped about 15% in 2015. So that was a big thing this year.
And what do you think in the Seattle market has continued to flourish and see these high gains?
Well, Seattle's just continued to be really good, and Seattle and Tacoma actually both appreciated over 10% in 2015. So
wow.
I think a big reason Seattle's seeing that is just the high-paying jobs. They added, 45,700 jobs this year. So just an outstanding amount of jobs and kind of pumping into the economy and increasing prices there. And then a lot of these jobs, like we mentioned, are really high-paying tech jobs. Mm-hmm. And basic real estate fundamentals are there. People want to be close to the city for their commute. Not everybody wants to be stuck on the 405 all day long, getting home to the family. And the good walk scores and just the good area is a big part of it.
Yeah, it makes total sense. So advice, because you've worked with so many buyers and sellers, Tyler, what advice are you giving to your home buyers right now?
I think the biggest thing is, ask your friends and family for a referral for your realtor,
yes,
your lender, your home inspector. Those three really make a big difference in how the process goes, and it can go smooth or it can go poorly. So that's kind of a big step there. And then always get pre-approved. It's the same talk we've had over the years of chatting about the real estate market. Inventory is tight. So if you're not ready to go, you're going to be missing out on that house, because we're still seeing a bunch of multiple offer situations all across the Puget Sound.
Yeah, so biggest advice is you've got to have that strong team. And if you have one glitch in that team, it can be a complete nightmare in the process. And I second that with Tyler, is make sure you get your recommendations. And I would follow the lead of your realtor, because they're the ones that are kind of overseeing the process, and they've got a person for every piece of that team in their mix that they can introduce you to. So I think that's a great way, once you find your realtor, to find the rest of the team that they work with. Now, Tyler, what about the strategies that you're sharing with your sellers that are looking at selling their home?
Well, much of the same for the buyers is definitely doing that research to make sure you've got the professional there. And, with rates, the possibility of rates jumping up, so making sure you're getting all that done and ready. And like Matthew talked about, there's a lot of people out there that want to make the purchase, but they have to sell their home first, so they're kind of tiptoeing back and forth on that. And with your realtor, make sure that they're doing, that they have a stager, that they have professional photography, that they have the outlets to get your home in front of the most people possible, because not everybody does the same thing in this business.
Yeah, and I always say it's not about you selling your home, but it is about ultimately the price that you're going to get and the net proceeds you're going to walk away from. And that's really where the established and the experts are really going to be able to maximize your dollars. And, also on the price side of it, because I know there's still a lot of realtors. I mean, we know the 80-20 rule. I'm a believer that there's the 1%ers in the industry that really are killing it out there. And that's, really what I try to bring into studio is the elite of the elite, the best of the best. And there's a lot of agents that are putting prices on home or giving advice of what they can get for the home that are not accurate. So what are you telling your clients with that the risk of listing your home at the wrong price, or listening for someone that says they can get a price that they really most likely can't?
Unfortunately, that goes a lot.
Yeah.
That happens a lot. But I mean, the biggest thing is getting a price, looking at the comps in the neighborhood, what's sold. Don't try and go 10, 15% above that. I know we have some crazy markets, but just making sure you've got it priced right. And a strategy I'm using right now with sellers is waiting till day 6. We have some experts with Windermere that did some searches, and they found that the highest price you can get for a home is on day 6. So
really interesting.
Yeah, so that's when we're reviewing offers for our new listings that we're having hit the market.
So there is a lot of strategies. That's just like one little tiny strategy, and the importance of working with an industry leader, without a doubt. So 2016, the hot markets, Tyler, what do you see as our hot markets?
Well, I think we're going to continue to see the urban sprawl. So we're going to see people still priced out of Seattle. I mean, there's always going to be people that have the money to purchase there, but people are making moves out to Shoreline and moves out to Edmonds, and then kind of down south. I think if you're close to the Sound Transit,
yes.
The Auburn Market kind of shocked a lot of people. It's up over 10% this year in 2015. Kent's doing really, really well. And for those people that are looking for homes on acreage, I've seen a lot of good deals still down in Spanaway, and also Puyallup's been really good. And I think those areas do well because it's got the fundamentals. The schools are really good, the safety that Matt touched on there, and easy access to where you work.
Yeah, and I have Sound Transit in here probably a few times a year, representation, and with all the stuff that's coming up, I know we've got quite a few years ahead of us before we're going to see all of these benefits. But it'll be interesting what happens in the South End market when our transportation does what they're planning for our future. So that'll be interesting and very exciting for us. So when do you feel is the best time to put your home on the market? I'm sure you get a lot of sellers asking this question right now.
Well, the short answer is once you have the equity and you're ready to go. But I think the biggest thing is everyone's waiting for the flowers to bloom and the lawn to look great and wanting to put it on in March. But the problem is everyone's thinking that. Same thing for buyers too when they start their search up. So real estate's all about competition. So if you have less competition, that's the time you want to have the home on the market. You don't want you want your neighbors to not be listing and be kind of the only house out there on the market, and that'll bring you the multiple offer situation. Makes sense. So any other thoughts that you have in next year for real estate, Tyler? Well, Zillow predicts that prices are going to rise 5.6% next year in the Seattle area. I think we'll see them up a little bit more. Definitely not the double-digit appreciation, but like Matthew touched on, the bubble's not really in sight, and the appreciation and the strong local economy is still driving it. So I think it's going to be another really good year.
Yeah.
And we've already seen new construction take off a little bit with D.R. Horton's just buying a ton of stuff, and Mainview Homes, they're doing really well around the area. So I think that's going to be a big factor, and that might actually be a little bit of competition for resale coming up in 16.
Yeah, and I will have to have an expert in to talk about the difference between resale and new construction. That just reminded me, it's been a little while, because that's good information to share. So you have had so much success in your career, Tyler. What would you say sets you apart from a traditional realtor?
I think the agents that I see have success are people that have a ton of contacts. So being the millennial age that I am, it's social media, getting the house in front of a bunch of people, and taking that approach of being a teacher and not trying to be a salesman, just explaining what to expect to make it smooth, and then generate referrals and go from there.
Yeah. Now, going back to the sellers, with the sellers, everything kind of being stacked on their side, definitely being a seller's market in anticipation, unless we get a lot more inventory, it will continue to do that. But still, there's mistakes that are made out there from sellers. What do you see the biggest mistake is for a seller to be aware of? It's
definitely pricing.
Yep.
I mean, we're still seeing that a lot, where people are just trying to push it too much on the price side. So, like we said earlier, just go off of the comps in the neighborhood, make your adjustments slightly, and price it right.
And on the buyer side, for all of the buyers getting ready to start in the new year and get back there in the market, what would you say is the biggest mistake for a buyer? I mean, you mentioned a few of them, having the strong team, making sure that they're pre-approved, which they can't even make a mistake and not get an offer accepted because they're not pre-approved. Anything else that you would be cautioning for buyers as they're getting ready in the new year?
Yeah. Like we talked about, having your ducks in a row and making sure everything's good there with the financing end of it, and not stretching yourself too thin. There are a bunch of amazing programs right now for people to get into houses. So look into that, explore some options, talk to a couple lenders, and really get to know these neighborhoods. And if you're not too far from work and you're surrounded by good schools, you're going to have a winning recipe to succeed and have your home appreciate. Yeah, and that's great advice, as we were, talking with Matthew as well, that, just people finding out what their options are. And the first step really is to talk about financing. And the numbers are going to tell you that you can do it or you can't do it. And if you can't do it, you've got a plan to move forward. But the worst mistake that you can make is not get the information and see that there might be an opportunity for you. Now, in Money Chat, Tyler, I had talked about the benefit of homeownership versus renting. What other things are you advising for renters to get out there and take advantage of homeownership? Well, it's like you could put a big sign up and say, hey, now's the time. Matthew and I were talking earlier, and rates might get up, 1%, and every percent they increase, that takes away 10% of your buying power there. So I think it's only going to get more expensive from the signs that I'm seeing. So continue to be in that cat and mouse game of trying to keep up with the rental, or, put yourself in a position for appreciation in home ownership. Yeah. So any strategies and things that you're doing to prepare for the new year, things that you might be doing differently in 2016 that you did in 2015 to adjust to our new year, or no? Well, we're going to be teaching a lot of first-time home buyer classes and doing the education part to bring those renters into the buying pool. So we're going to continue with that and go after the online buyers out there and show them what's happening out there. That's great. Tyler, thank you so much for coming back in studio. Always a pleasure, and Happy New Year to you. And I'll look forward to talking with you again in 2016. Sounds great, Tina. Thanks again. Coming up next in the Money Hour, how do you invest in real estate using your retirement dollars? Well, I've got Christopher Orr with Pensco Trust right here at 1150 AM KKNW after this short break.